Like I've said before with some of these Snare Saturday videos, vintage drums are pretty popular right now. So why don't we talk about a drum that's from the early 1950s. What's going on, everybody? Nick Costa here, and in this video I am going to be showing you a Ludwig transition era snare drum. Now this is a 5x14 wood drum that has 8 lugs and was made during the time when Ludwig was transitioning from WFL. Now before we dive into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you're notified of any additional content that I upload to the channel. So if you've been a subscriber to the channel for quite some time, and thank you if you have been, then you've seen this drum before. This is the drum that was part of that 1967 or 1968 Ludwig downbeat kit that I restored, which was a 3-part video series that a lot of you found this channel with. If you're interested in checking out that whole thing and seeing a completely different version of me in front of a camera, as well as editing and everything else, I've put a link to the playlist up here for you to check out. It's also in the description below if that's something you're interested in. Now this snare drum was part of that drum kit that was gifted to me by the father of 2 of my friends from high school. One of those friends was also a drummer and told his dad to reach out to me because they felt that I would make use of the drum kit, which I do. I still use it along with this snare drum. Now you can tell that this drum is from the transition era just based off of the badge. It is a keystone badge, and at the top it has the Ludwig oval script logo as well as the outline of the drumsticks in the X pattern. Underneath the vent hole it says Drumco and then says Chicago, USA. Additionally, when you look at this drum, you will notice that the throw-off and butt plate are from WFL. The throw-off is the really big lever style classic throw-off, and the butt plate has the WFL Keystone logo engraved in it. Now this drum was interesting to restore because it was unplayable when I received it. I had to get some additional parts, like for example on the throw-off, the fine-tuned knob on the front was missing, and whoever owned this drum, not really sure if it was my friend's dad or not, but the interior was spray painted some metallic gold finish. Finally, the snare wires were completely destroyed and unusable. And if you are familiar with this classic style throw-off and butt plate, the one side of the snare wires go past the bed and they screw into the bottom of the throw-off. Completely different than a standard snare drum where you have string or a nylon strap, maybe even a plastic strap, that allows you to make connection between your snare wires, your throw-off, and your butt plate. So because of this, I had to do a little bit of digging, and thanks to Bub Surfice, who was part of the Ludwig Drums Facebook page, I reached out on there asking if anybody had a set, and Pure Sound used to make a set of snare wires specifically for this classic throw-off. Now he did have a set to sell to me, so thank you once again, Bub, for helping me with this, because if I didn't get them from you, I wouldn't have been able to put this drum together unless, of course, I put a different throw-off on it. So let's talk about the specs of this drum. It is a 5x14 shell that is depth by diameter. It has 8 of the bow tie style Ludwig lugs, triple flange hoops on the top and bottom. Like I said, the WFL classic throw-off and the WFL butt plate. Additionally, this drum has an internal muffler. It's the puck version, the round one that you see on acrylites from the 70s. So not quite sure if that is original or not. I would think that since this is supposed to be from the late 50s, that it would have a baseball bat internal muffle. But for any of you who have a little bit more knowledge with the history of Ludwig and WFL, feel free to leave any of that information in the comment section below to let us all know, because of course the very last thing I want to do is misinform anybody. Now, like I said, I did put a set of Pure Sound snare wires on this, one specifically made for this classic throw-off. I put my heads of choice on it, which of course are Remo, an Ambassador snare side head on the bottom, and a Weather King Classic Ambassador coated on the top, because Remo started making these Weather King Classics that are a little bit larger than your traditional drum head, because let's face it, drums are made of wood for the most part, and they are affected by climate, humidity, they can change size and shape, and if you've ever messed around with vintage drums, sometimes standard heads have a difficult time fitting on them. To solve that problem, get a set of Weather King Classics. They're a little bit larger, and you know that you won't run into that issue. Now, I decided to go with a standard Ambassador on the top, or the Weather King Classic version of it, because originally I was using this drum in small jazz group settings, I wanted the drum to be nice and open, especially if I was playing in a small group setting. Maybe I was playing something where I'm not really digging into it like I would in a rock setting or a recording session. Plus, if I was doing brush work, I wanted it to be coated. That way I could get some texture as I was doing my brush strokes. So just like every other demo or Snare Saturday video, I'm going to play this drum through a few different tunings. I'm going to start off in a low tuning and work my way up to a higher tuning. Now, as I'm in each tuning, since this does have an internal muffle, I'm going to start out with it disengaged and then engage it so you can hear the difference that it makes. So enough of me talking, let's dive in. as you can hear, since this is an 8-lug drum, it has a lot of body to it. Now, the more lugs you have on a snare, the more direct it sounds. This could also be why a lot of snare drums, especially vintage ones, had more of an open tone to them, because they were 8 lugs instead of 10. Now, either way, I would love to get your feedback and what you thought of this drum, so make sure that you leave it in the comment section below, letting me know. Now, if you have any questions, maybe on how I restored this drum or anything else related to it, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. That way it makes it a little bit easier for others to find it. And that is it. Thank you so much for checking out this video on the Ludwig Transition Era 5x14 wood snare drum. And until next time, see you later.